All right, now to Detroit's bankruptcy. That deal with Syncora and plans for a regional water authority. Mayor Mike Duggan presented the water plan to Detroit City Council this week. Not everyone was thrilled with it. So I want to start with the water plan because also they're talking about it in Oakland County, and it's going to come up in about 2 weeks. They're going to have to vote on this. Stephen, let me start with you on that.
Yeah, well, this is the deal that everybody just has to take. It's not the best thing for anybody. I mean,
sounds like the entire bankruptcy process.
Right. You know, I mean, Detroit would probably have preferred to get $50 million that it could do anything with a year out of this deal. The suburbs would probably not want to pay that $50 million. The truth is the system needs new management. It needs new investment. This is the best deal on the table, and from here it only gets worse. I mean, if you let the bankruptcy judge decide on his own what to do, it won't look like this, I don't think, and we won't have as much control of the system going forward.
More palatable for the suburbs, Nolan, because the money that the suburbs are investing in this is going to go directly to infrastructure of the water and sewer department.
Yeah, partly, but also because the money is going to be found through efficiencies in the system and refinancing the debt, so there won't be a net increase in what suburban customers pay. I think it's telling that Brooks Patterson, who is a vigilant defender of the interest of his residents, signed off this deal, and happily so. He says it's a good deal for his people. It gives the suburbs a greater voice, all customers in the system, a greater voice than they have now. It ends sort of the corruption and the mismanagement, or potentially does, that has plagued this system for decades and puts it under professional management. Everybody should benefit long term. Over the long haul, rates should actually be more reasonable because you have better, more efficient management. I think it's the best deal you could have hoped for.
City Council, there's some members though that they're not too fond of this deal. They have a point.
Well, you know, you can take issue with things in this deal. The question though is, what's the alternative? Is the alternative better or is it worse? And there's no question here that any alternative that would be on the table in court would put the city at a much greater disadvantage. My understanding is that privately, all the council members say, I think this is a good deal. The question is whether they can come out in public and vote for it and feel like there's not going to be some blowback.
But we go through this every time. You know, people always say, well, gosh, you know, Brooks and Heckle, they're the obstacles to regionalization. We go through this with the city council every time, and if you look at the things we've done to date, they've all worked. Cobo Center is working wonderfully. Cobo Center is working very well. And you know, the other regional efforts we've done working well, and yet every time we got to go through this little dance of, well, we don't want to give away some, but we don't want to do that. This is better for the city of Detroit as well. They're going to get their water system fixed. That's
a huge advantage that people aren't really recognizing, is that everyone who's a customer of the system is a victim. It doesn't work the way it's supposed to because we haven't invested in it the right way, and this would fix that.
And there's going to be money to help people pay their bills.
Right.
Okay, with 30 seconds we have left, I want to address Syncora. Is the lesson here that if you complain loud enough and drag out long enough that you might get a little something that you want?
Well, I mean, they got a better deal than they were first offered. I don't know how much better it is. I mean, I think they were feared they were in danger of going bankrupt themselves if they didn't get enough off of what the city owes them. It's an improvement. I'm not happy about the tunnel part of this. I think that's 20 years into the future. I wouldn't have put that in there. But other than that, you know.
10 seconds, Nolan.
It's interesting. They're forced to, not only do they get some money, but they still lose 75% of what they were owed. But they're forced, or this deal structured so that they invest in downtown as well. And I think that's a positive thing.
All right, and we'll continue to watch the bankruptcy process as we're kind of rolling towards the end here.
Almost over.
Yeah, and that is going to do it for MiWeek. Thanks so much for joining us. Remember, you can always go to MiWeek.org, share this show with video on demand, plus find us on Facebook and Twitter. We're pretty social during the week, so make sure you're part of the conversation there. Also, for all things election 2014, head to myvote.org. And for all of us at Detroit Public Television, I'm Christy McDonald. We will see you next week for MiWeek.